in to Athletics LLC with Lamar, Lucius, Big League Chew, and my man Clyde, and the governor. You're about to be schooled in all things track and field. This is experience. Yes, sir. We are talking past, present, future. Y'all listen up. Let's go.
You can't do that. You set me up. Okay, I'm putting him on blast. This man said, "Don't start laughing when you hit the button, Chew." I was perfectly fine until he said that.
No, you do it every week.
No, because usually someone makes a face or makes a comment like that. Anyways, hello everyone. Welcome to the weekly deposit of Athletics LLC. We have some fun stuff in store tonight, so we will just get started after our introductions. Mr. Goon Squad Elite, how are you this evening, sir?
I am really good.
Got it. Excellent. Short but sweet. I dig it. Governor, how are you tonight, sir?
Pretty good.
We got a lot of syllables going on tonight, guys. Hey. Sir Lucius, how are you tonight?
I am doing very well, my dear. How are you?
I am better now.
You're a
definitely
bit
better
giddy.
now.
You're a bit giddy, yes, that's for sure.
Well, and it's definitely because today has been one of the most stressful days of the last 2 weeks. So I think I'm finally like able to let the stress lid off and
Awesome.
exhale a little bit. So thank you. Thank you for allowing me to do so, y'all. Last but not least, Clyde, how are you tonight, sir?
I am 15 days away from the start of our conference championships. I am stressed out.
Amen. I hear it.
That just means you guys are getting ready to roll out, Clyde. That's what that means.
Yep.
Sure, but until I see it.
The proof.
I believe
proof.
that. I believe that very much, but I need to see it.
That's funny. Well, I'm glad to hear that everyone's doing well. LLC world, I've gotten a few messages and whatnot. It seems like everybody's doing well out there. So keep on keeping on. Throwing the curveball into season 4. We talked about this in season 3 and we're giving it life now. I am going to wholeheartedly turn everything over to Sir Lucius. And we are going to do something we've been talking about. And I'm going to stop talking so he can.
So we're going to have a bit of a staff meeting, and I've had assignments, questions I've assigned everyone. And the beauty of it is that the person with the question is the only person that knows what the question is. So the question will be fresh into everybody else's minds to ponder a little bit while, said person is answering the question. So because he is the most eloquent person we know, we're going to start with the governor, because we know that he is going to give us an answer that will, it's going to rock. So I'm excited about speaking with the governor this morning at my staff meeting. So, Governor, what effect do you believe that the new NCAA rule of unlimited official visits will have on track and field recruiting? And do you think the transfer portal had anything to do with this decision?
I think this new rule change will have a seismic effect on track recruiting. I think that the schools that can afford to bring in more recruits will do that. The schools that think it's effective to bring in recruits on official visits, they definitely will, be busy. And I think when you look at the entire picture that's being painted, we're moving into an era where there are more coaches that can be hired. So you have the potential for a true recruiting coordinator that can literally just do that. You have a situation now where you can now afford to bring in parents, two additional parents, and pay for them for 48 hours. So again, all of this costs money, okay? So the schools that have the money and the wherewithal, first world problems, they will be able to take full advantage of this new rule. The other thing is, I mean, when you think about from a recruit standpoint, you can start to take visits August 1 before your junior year. So you can now, as a recruit, take much more visits, whereas before, like, and let me keep painting this picture. Let's start with what the recruiting calendar used to look like. There was a point in time where, not too long ago, where if you were a top sought after recruit, you literally had between September and Thanksgiving. And you had 10 weeks, maybe 11 weeks. And if you decided to take all 5 visits, almost every other week you were on a visit, right? That now I think is going to be stretched. And that recruit is going to be able to start taking visits much earlier. There is no early and late signing period. And that recruit could take 10 visits. Like it is, I think that recruit is now going to have more time to spread out more visits. Now, as far as the transfer portal, all of what we're seeing is part of the deregulation that is happening in the NCAA. It is connected to the transfer portal. And I think that because of the old rules and because of shenanigans that are being pulled by certain schools and on all of that, I mean, how many of us have a dollar for the amount of time that we've gotten a frantic call from a recruit saying that at school X has given them 1 week to sign their scholarship, right? And they don't know. They're in a panic mode, right? Well, I think that now evens things out, because now that recruit can say, you know what, I'm going to take my time, and I still have X amount of schools on my list to visit, and this is what it is. And I mean that from the standpoint of, let's just say athlete visit 3 or 4 or 5, you don't have any more, so it's time to make a decision, right? So that's, I think all of this is part of deregulation, and I think it's all connected with the increased staff, with a longer recruiting period, transfer portal. All of that is now connected, because now the athlete can make sure and go see for themselves, you know, if this is the right school for them.
So I'm going to throw you a curveball here, sir, and the rest of the staff can jump in here briefly. No going around the block today. Right? So, see, I'm of the belief that this is a fail-safe for the high schooler, because the issue that is being brought up here is, okay, so the high schooler takes 5 visits, it hasn't signed yet, but then now the transfer portal opens up, and all their schools go in the transfer portal and get athletes, and now they don't have any more visits to go visit other schools.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I put the caveat in there. Does the transfer portal have anything to do with this? Because I think from that realm it does. And I also believe that a bigger issue here is, I think that the deadline situation is going to get worse.
Please don't steal my thunder. So to make it short,
Yes.
this is, I won't be sinister. This is a well-intentioned solution in our sport. This is a well-intentioned solution that is only going to cause mass chaos for a situation that wasn't really a problem.
Right.
Deregulation, you learn it from life. Deregulation sounds good, but it only leads to chaos. It's already taking too long for child X, Y, and Z to come up with a decision with 5 official visits and an IG list of a top 10.
Right.
Now we're going to get an IG list of a top 20, and damn it, I want all my 20 visits.
Yep.
With offers.
It's going to cause massive chaos at the elite recruiter school levels.
Mm-hmm.
And the trickle down is going to be mid-major programs are going to be sitting on their hands, waiting till death to get answers from these people,
Mm-hmm.
while all the while not being able to afford to keep up with the new recruiting Jones.
Yep.
Because I got news for you. I can't do official visits for everybody. I sure can't do mom plus dad plus kid for
Amen.
everybody. And
Mhm.
now, where I might be happy to get in that final 5 and get the visit, now I'm just 1 of 20. So, you know, it's going to cause massive chaos. And I know it's well-intentioned to help the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's
so
gonna be way more
we are
stressful
in
for them.
danger. We're going around the
And I'm
block.
out.
Okay.
No, it's going to be
All
way
right,
more
so-
stressful for the kids. And I'm out.
Okay. All right. So I think it's going to be stressful for everybody. I think it's going to be a situation where what they've done is they've further opened Pandora's box,
Mm-hmm.
and you never put this genie back in the bottle. So the issue you're going to have here is, like you said, stress levels for kids, stress levels for parents, stress level for coaches. It's just going to be bad. So at the end of the day, I think that, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, but I'm not sure that they really did their homework in the right manner here. So we're going to move on. And this is my question for Madam Chu. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, and the governor alluded to this.
Yes,
So with
I
the
feel
NCAA
it.
decision to allow track and field to have 6 more paid positions, do you think more female coaches will be given a chance? And what do you think said female coaches can do to make themselves more viable during this process?
So off,
Governor, you're a mess.
I know, off top, I don't think it's going to open up opportunities for female coaches. I think it's going to open up opportunities for coaches, but it's not going to open opportunities for the most part for female coaches, because at the end of the day, it's still, we've got to take a chance if she can really do her job. And what really constitute as her job? Is it the actual event position? Is it the office duty? Is it both? Is it that she can keep the circus running in the correct circles? So one, I think that it's not going to open up the opportunity for female coaches specifically. How can female coaches make themselves more viable? It doesn't stay within the confines of this conversation. It's showing that we can be trustworthy, just like the males have to. It shows that we can be more than just the mom of the group, the wife of the staff members, and the manager of the chaos. And 3, really owning our craft, whatever that means. If you're a recruiting coordinator, owning that craft. If you're a director of ops, owning that craft. If you're a distance coach, owning that craft. So that's how we make ourselves viable and take the opportunity to make the new, or the ability to have 6 additional paid positions a thing for us.
Okay.
being
See,
female
and
coaches.
I don't think there's going to be a plethora of schools that have 6
Agreed.
new coaches.
Agreed.
I don't think the money's there for everybody,
Just to pop
or
it
a
open.
plethora of people to pop open and go 6 people. But so let's say there's an average of 2 more coaches added in the P5 schools. We'll just leave it in the first world issue, right? You're a woman that has worked her way into the P5. If you had to give advice to someone that was trying to, that thought there was going to be a job, because there's been no postings about any of this yet. So if you're the female that wants to get into one of these positions, what's your advice to one of them of how to make that happen?
Without conversations and networking, just solely part of your job. Do your job well. Let it be its own voice. Let it be its own 2 feet, so that when they can put the screen in front of you and look at the accolades and the accomplishments and the strengths, it doesn't matter what gender's behind the screen. I think
Yes,
that's the
and I
best
get
thing
that. I
you can
get
do.
that piece. But
Mhm.
what I'm saying to you is this: is that okay? So there's jobs that are, going to come open at some point, or they're going to
Mhm.
be posted at some point. So if said female applicant, is at a non-Power 5, should she reach out to the Power 5 that
Always.
she might want to work out? Should she
Yeah.
contact someone? Because that means obviously, once you submit the resume has to be good.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
so my question is how, like, to position themselves, right? You have to be able
Yes.
to put yourself in the limelight so they can see, hey, said person, who just contacted me does have a resume and can do the job is what I'm looking for.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah. So
It's
then
just-
to that, it's the thing, and I didn't know that this was. A couple people have said that I've said this, and I don't realize that it's kind of one of my key go-tos. Closed mouths don't get fed. You have to ask, you have to email, you have to call, you have to do something, you have to initiate the movement, whatever that means, in order to get in position to even be in the line of fire. So yes, got to open your mouth.
Gentlemen, you guys have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I'm going to put on my ignorant hat real quick. I'm going to go in the complete opposite direction. And I'm
Okay.
going to say, and I'm not predicting this, but I think for those staffs that have not ticked the box, they're going to look at this increased staff as an opportunity to tick the box. And the danger, and we've had, between my wife and myself, having seen young women, former athletes getting into the coaching profession, having to advise them on, so did the coach actually promise you that you would actually get to coach a group? Or did the coach hire you and say, maybe, but if you might have to work your way up to get that opportunity. I think this could, in certain situations, appease the masses in terms of, well, do you have a female on staff? Do you have a minority female on staff? Great. But it may not be to that female's benefit when it actually comes to actual coaching. And that is a danger. And I'm just throwing that out in the air in the stratosphere.
Well, okay, so
Immediately,
I'm gonna
that is what came to my mind.
and I'm going to say this. So there's nothing ignorant about that. So we're going to take
thank
the
you.
ignorant out of it. Okay. So we're going to start there. And then I'm going to circle back to this. Like, see, you kind of stole my thunder over this. That was going to be my next question. Like, I believe that what you said is going to happen. Most of these positions are going to be entry level, right?
Yep.
And so trust me, there are going to be athletic directors who stand up and say, you must hire a female.
Yep.
So this is an opportunity for females, if they get out in front of this, to become more viable, to become more visible, to interject themselves into this. But they've got to hustle, because we know there's a plethora of men out there that are salivating at the chance to do this.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
do
If
you think that
if
it's
the women hustle, they have a chance. They do.
I think they have a leg up. And
Yes.
I'm not saying that with any kind of judgment. I'm all for it, right? But the word is hustle. So to your question that you asked to Ms. Chu, yes. Like, if there's a job out there that you want, or a place that you really desire to work at, you better, it's no different than recruiting. You better reach out. You better reach out and make sure that Mike Holloway knows your name.
Yep.
And before the spaces are gone.
Yep.
Like, you better do it. Because if you're not going to do it, don't just think that they're going to come calling. Like, that's not how it works.
Yeah,
So
it's the old adage: if you don't, somebody else will.
that's right.
Yeah. Chu, what was your question?
well, I was going to say
Before we move on.
just that So I don't disagree that they're going to be entry level to an extent, and I think they're going to be entry level to certain people, and to certain people they're not going to be entry level. And so while it could be a viable aspect for a woman to take into that,
let me do as I do in my staff meetings. Okay, you're not going to just say that and just walk on down the hallway like you did here. So what is your thought process behind that? Some, because you have to think about this now, and I kind of hear you.
Yeah.
But there's a great deal of money associated with adding positions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I can almost guarantee you there will be more entry level positions here than there will be upper level positions added on university staffs.
So meaning that it'll be entry level or not, no position. Like we've seen these positions because it's extra at this point, right? It hasn't been a viable position right now. So it can go away and come back in a year. So if they don't get, like we say, if the right applicant doesn't come along, you shut it down until the right applicant does. Sometimes. If we can't find anybody that bites the bullet for 35,000, then we wait for the next year when the next grad student will take it for 35,000.
Well, so trust me, at $35,000 in this economy and the number of people who want to be in coaching, there's going to be a line outside the door.
Absolutely.
Outside the door.
Just from the standpoint of the amount of former athletes, or
yes.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm going to say this, and I mean this in the most lovingest way possible, because I love you all. That is the male perspective. Because the female perspective is...
Okay, and I'm going to tell you this. Then the females need to change their perspective on this. They need to change it right now. Okay, so, because as Clyde said, you guys have a leg up, and I because of my first world issues, I'm going to say if somebody else does, I field phone calls from coaches and ADs during the hiring process, and one of the things that's always said are, "Where's the females?" Right. Which is why I asked the question, like, how do they make themselves more viable, more visible? Okay, so to coin a phrase, ladies, get out your chairs and make yourself visible. Okay. So because a big part of the problem is, there are some issues out there. We all know that with females getting hired in such situations, but I don't think this is going to be one of them, because there's going to be a lot of AD. Yeah. Well, see, the retention comes out of you get the job and keep it now.
Yeah. So that's
prove your worth.
It's not and so much retention of the ability and desire to be a coach. I guess that's the best way to say it. Retention, not necessarily because they aren't sufficient at their job or efficient at their job, meaning can they juggle this in the family, this in being a female, this in doing the social life, or whatever it is they so desire, which is this is off the table of this. But that's where the lack of visibility comes. And I say this because I literally just had a conversation with a coach who decided to quote unquote be at the lower level. So it opened up home time, and that job allows her to. That can be part of why the visibility of female applications aren't there. So that's why I say, regardless of the opportunity, the job is going to be available for everyone. There's opportunity for everyone, whether it's just females or not.
But
we'll see. We're going to put a cap on this.
It can keep going
somewhere.
Yeah, it can keep going.
But I think the misnomer here is that, okay, so if you're given an opportunity and you take the job, then, like I say this to the staff regularly, right? You can't plan this job around your life and be successful. You have to plan your life around the job if you want to be successful. So if you can't on one hand say, I want to be a Power 5 Division I track and field coach, on the other hand say, well, I can't because I have other things I got to do. You can't, because it's not going to work that way.
Right.
So now we're going to move on.
Oh man, but that's what I was going to ask too. Like, isn't that the stereotype that we try to avoid and fight against?
But and women, you're going to get mad, and that's okay. But so we're fighting against it as a group, as a population. But then so many people in that same breath are saying, I want to have kids, I want to have family, I want to have balance, I want to have this. And unfortunately, again, and I've said this through and through, and people have ridiculed or applauded it, there is no balance to this. You balance the minute, you balance the day, you balance the task.
It's a simple word. It's called sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right.
And
It's just
so,
that
and
simple.
some aren't just willing to do it. And
We'll
so,
see. We'll see. And if they're not willing to do it, then they're not part of the conversation. It's just that simple.
yeah,
If you're not willing to do it, then you can't talk about it. Yeah.
But I mean,
So this conversation is about the people who want to get their foot in the door, who want to make the sacrifices, who want to show the world that, hey, because I'm a firm believer, and I've watched it happen from the volunteer side of things, that people that were able to volunteer and show their worth to other people, because, you know, as we know, the coaching carousel, this is just going to make it spin even more.
Yes.
Right. So get into the washer, get into the cycle. Right.
Yeah.
But let's not put these self-imposed walls up and says we can't do things. Okay. All right. So Clyde, you're up next.
All
Okay.
right.
So, you know, your coach has had, you know, success at every level. And now it's you're at a non P5 institution, and you're trying to build a successful program. What are some of the biggest challenges you face when it comes to recruiting and selling the program? Because, you know, there's always this stigma out there. You're not the Power 5. Like, how do you and your staff deal with that? What challenges do you face?
Well, how we deal with it is, you know, is situation by situation, but I'll give you some parameters on that. But the biggest problem is, you already said it in the question. It is the perception that what we do at a lesser level because our label doesn't fit. Now, that can be an individual label, meaning my particular university doesn't have the rep of a Florida, or it can be that because we're mid-major and we're not the Big 12, the Pac-12, the SEC, that somehow we work at a lower level. That is the biggest problem in recruiting that I face, because everybody wants to chase what they believe to be the top of the mountain, right? And the perception is anything in the P5 is better than anything that's not P5. And that's just fundamentally untrue. There are phenomenal coaches who are not P5. There are phenomenal coaches who are not Division I. And in our sport, the beauty of it is we all got to line up and race. It's not a football situation where that distinction actually might mean something. You actually are going to be on television more. You actually have a better chance of being drafted, XYZ, right? Not here. Everybody got to line up and race. So how we fight against that perception, how I've always fought against that perception, because short of my 2 seasons at Cal Berkeley, I've always worked in smaller, mid-major, quote unquote, developmental type situations. I tell people the truth. I think that there's a lot of dishonesty in recruiting across the board, and telling people the truth seems to matter. And I sell, if it's even a sell, I focus on my track record and the track record of my staff, because our track records say that we are excellent at developing talent. So if I can point to tangible results and say, hey, this is what we do. Now you could go out and research situations, because let's be real, there's a whole bunch of P5 people that ain't getting jobs done. The P5 label doesn't save you. So we focus on us, and we point to the highlights and the accolades and the developmental curve that we produce and have always produced throughout our careers. And I ask athletes and parents to look at it objectively and make a choice. I don't do the negative recruiting. I don't put us against school X. I don't do that. I'm like, this is what we do. This is the path. This is what we've shown we can do. Are you looking to be developed, or are you looking for a label? Because if you're looking for a label, we're never going to be the label, right? no one is ever going to want to come to school at a San Jose State. Like, you don't wake up and be like, my dream school is San Jose State. My dream school is Texas Southern. My dream school is, you know, TSU Arlington or whatever it is, right? Like, that's not your dream school. I get the dream, but how do you get to the podium dream that you have? How do you get to the time dream that you have? Well, you better find people that know how to cultivate and develop your talent. And fortunately for me, I've proven that I can do that. And I've surrounded myself with a staff of people that have a proven track record that they can do that. And that's what we focus on. The individual development of you, the athlete, and how here we can do a better job at taking care of you and your child, because we're not doing a endless cycle of bring the talent in, wash the talent out, rinse and repeat for those who aren't cutting the mustard. Like, you know, I always tell something that I always tell all of our recruits, at least the people that I have an intention of coaching directly. You know, I don't coach events, I coach athletes. And I don't run a system-based training program here. I coach the individual. Every kid is a puzzle to be solved, and it's my job and my staff's job to be creative and focused enough to get the best out of each kid. Working at small schools, I have the opportunity and the time to be patient enough to do that. And so that's how we present ourselves. But absolutely the biggest hurdle that we have every week on almost every call, on every initial contact is, but you're not the label. Whatever that label is, right? And there's always a label that's going to be bigger than the mid-major program that you're working at. You know, when I was working at Louisiana Tech, everybody in the state of Louisiana wanted to go to LSU. And I get it. I ain't mad at it. I totally understand. But that doesn't mean that if you come here, you can't go down to Baton Rouge and bust somebody's head, because we did it. You know what I mean? When I'm at Alabama State, everybody wants to be Roll Tide. Okay, cool. But we can go in there and bust their heads. Like, we can do that. And so that's always the message is.
So do you feel like your message is being well received? You know, do you feel like the parents and stuff that you've been able to, you know, contact with, are they receiving that message well? Is what I guess my question.
I believe that they are. And I've always been successful, you know, pushing those type of messages, but specifically here at this place and what we're doing now, I made a conscious choice last year, and will continue to make that choice while everybody's jumping into the portal looking for the next hot proven commodity, we chose to focus on the high school element and develop the kids that we want, especially from the state that we're in. And we crushed it in recruiting, and we signed a whole bunch of talent. And now people are starting to see what we're doing with that talent. So as long as we can continue to do that, and it's not like we're not in the portal like everybody else is, we go there, but that's not our main resource. Our main resource is keep the locals local, keep the Cali kids in Cali. And since I have the top breeding ground for talent in this sport, if we can continue to be successful with that, give me 2 more classes like the one we just signed. Oh, and everybody's gonna have a lot of problems, especially out west. So that's our mission, that's our focus, and that's how we get around the label chasing. Is you have to bring them in, and then you have to prove that you can develop the talent. And again, I mean, Kareem's down there doing things like that. Richie Bean's been doing that in Alabama for 20 years. Like, there are coaches at every level grinding to get attention, but when they get a talent, they produce. And there's a whole bunch of kids that chase labels.
Right. And Goon Squad, I mean, like you know, I've called you the mole for years. And
he is that.
You know, yeah. So I think that, you know, you have definitely a line to speak here about, you know, what your mindset was in these situations. You were at Eastern and places like that. And, you know, when you had to sell you, and you had to sell success, and how, you know, how the lower level, mid-level kid accepts that, and, you know, in a path that you're trying to guide them now. How'd that work for you?
Well, you know me for a long time, so you know I try to simplify things as much as I can, and I make them into math equations because I like math. I start with this. I'm willing to make at least 5 more phone calls than anybody else in the country. So I start there, and when I had a staff underneath me, I taught them to do that. 2, I have a patented rule that within 200 miles of your campus, you have to make every Division I prospect tell you no at least twice before you move off of them. And I get laughs when I say it, and I'm like, yeah, because a lot of times the best kids will tell you no the first time because they think they got options. But if you keep recruiting them, what's funny is you become one of those options. And then all of a sudden you become a top option because obviously you care about them, because you cared about them when they weren't that good. You cared about them when you had to fight everybody for their attention. And you still care as these schools have fallen off because they think they're a full scholarship person and they're not. And then I think the biggest thing beyond those 2 things, you have to, this is going to sound like an oversimplification, but I think all of you know what I mean. And I hope that it comes across to the rest of the ethos, is that you really have to know who you are as a coach and who you are as a program. Right there. And then you have to go and recruit to that. Right? Like you have to know what what a goon squad person is, and what a gator is, and what a Spartan is, and what a roadrunner is, and what a horned frog is. And then you have to recruit that, and not something that may be more talented or different talented, but doesn't fit within what you do well. Because it doesn't matter if your staff has a staff of people that coach the crap out of the discus and the hammer, but the shot's not their thing, then the best shot put in the country doesn't help you. Right. And I think
we've had those discussions. I think that's something that people miss out on. Like you have to recruit to your skill set, no matter where you are, no matter what the letters on your chest say. At the end of the day, you have to recruit to what you do best, because recruiting talent that you can't coach makes you a bad recruiter.
When I was a head coach,
Clyde, you're talking, but you're muted, sir, so we can't hear you.
I said it makes you look bad.
Yeah, right. It makes you look really bad. And like when I was a head coach at the Power 5 level, I said to my staff, I do not bring me a sprinter. What do you mean? I was like, listen, we need kids that can hurdle, and preferably that can do both hurdles, because that is one person that can help us in 4 events. And when we're at the University of California, again, it's a numbers game. The number of really high level people that we are going to beat the University of Florida or Baylor or this Power 5 or this Power 5 school on is smaller than if we were someplace else. So we have to get the very best and most versatile ones we can, so that we can still score at a high level in the championship level meets. And again, I think a lot of programs don't think like that. Like they try to out Michigan. That's what I used to always say that about football teams. Football recruiting is crazy to me. Like if you're in a conference that's already got an established hierarchy.
Well, I'm gonna cut you off because you're going around the block. Okay.
I wasn't.
Okay. But I'm gonna open up.
It's your staff.
Since you're on fire here, I'm going to let you roll a little bit. I want you to give me your take on the 983 by the high school. And,
there's a kid that
what's
ran
your take on
983?
that? Yeah. And beat Noah Lyles. See, that's the thing that's
in the race.
Troublesome for me, is that they talk more about him beating Noah than what he ran.
Yeah.
Right. What's your take on this, sir? What's your take on this?
I joked about as if I didn't know. Again, I like math. So I did my best governor impersonation and dove as
this
deep,
is gonna be good,
headlong as I possibly can. Hopefully some of this is informative. In the history of this world, there have been 30 performers to have run 983 or better under any conditions. So first of all, that gives you a general perspective of like how quote unquote good that is. To get more specific and deeper, only 20 of those performers ran 983 with a 3.0 wind or better. So still wind illegal, but that eliminates the 4s, the 5s, the 6s, and yes, there were 2 7s on wins in that list.
Texas.
There's only
Get off.
15 performers at 2.6 win or less. So now we're getting to who really can run. Like, it's not just the wind. And I think the last piece for me that kind of really gives me an idea of how fast this really is if you take the average win legal PBs of the people who have run 983, which is what he ran, under any win conditions, what you get is an actual PB of 9.8775, which is 988. So if you want to know what the significance of a 983 windy and beating a guy that just ran 995 last week, it comes out basically the same, no matter how you slice it. That's a sub 990 run under normal wind conditions, and that's insanely fast for a high school kid.
For an 18-year-old, yeah.
That is absolutely and positively. It's better than the world junior record we saw run last year that we thought was ridiculous. Now it's not under the same conditions, not at a championship level meet. You know, you got room for shenanigans, but at the end of the day, your eyes tell you it was 9.8. Who he beat tells you is 9.8. The fact that the wind was under 2.6, you know, it's like barely kind of windy. All of that says that we shouldn't be surprised if this young man runs 9.8 or 990 at some point in time in the very, very, very near future.
Well,
Governor, what's your 2 cents here on this? And because he's a Caribbean kid, isn't he?
He is. I think that's an African name.
The young lady represents
Suriname. He's going to represent Suriname.
Yeah, because he's not an American kid.
Yeah, he's going to represent Suriname. So a couple of things. So he's coached by Gerald Feary, correct?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Former All-American at Texas A&M.
Yes.
South
Which
African.
was the T-shirt the young man had on in the picture.
He's going there.
Because he signed with Texas A&M. No, he's signed. He will never show up.
He's definitely never going to show up on campus.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
the intention.
Couple things come to mind. And you know, it's both the blessing and the curse. We have lived long enough to see neophytes do amazing things before the age of 20. And the list of those neophytes that have actually gone on to have long-lasting careers is a very short list. And so we can't, I think as coaches, as folks that develop talent, it's not that we're gonna tell that kid, whoa, hold on now. Too much too soon, yada, yada, yada. No. The question that is out there and will continue to be out there is, and my mind automatically goes to it, who is going to be put in charge of this young man to help him progress into the professional world? Obviously, I can't see how, if he keeps going where he's going, that there isn't a contract at his feet by summertime. It's just
like maybe yesterday.
Like maybe yesterday.
Well,
Exactly.
Can I jump in? Can I jump in really quick, because it's funny that you use the word contract. Literally, my first thought was Alan Johnson, contracts over careers. Like literally, was my first thought, because he's going to get a contract. But then the question then becomes, how bad does he want to be great? Because if he gets too much money, it's just real hard to rap about being broke when you're not.
Right. Yep. Because here's the thing, like the role model is the guy that was second in the race.
Yeah.
People forget Noah went pro right out of high school.
Out of high school.
But he was slow baked. right? And now he's the best guy in the world. But the
Yes.
slow baking let him that. I mean, people forget his first year. Remember, he came to USA as his first year and he didn't run. You know,
Right.
Lance says he's not ready, so we're not running. He's his legs a little bit, so we're not running. You know,
I mean,
so like,
probably has
but
anyone
this kid's not being slow baked right now. So
right. So I mean, in all seriousness, has anyone done it better than Allison Felix in terms of from high school?
No,
Not
that-
even close.
You know,
well,
So-
Noah's on that. He's on that.
right.
right, yeah, sure.
So all I'm saying is this: incredibly impressive for an 18-year-old to step on the line with
Right.
Noah Lyles, and then not only beat Noah Lyles, but decisively beat Noah Lyles. I mean, it's fantastic. I love it. I'm just curious as to how his management, his support, all of that, his coaching, how they keep him on the level and get him to understand there's 10 years more of this if you are smart.
So, Sir Lucius, you said something in the lead up to this question that I found curious, and I grant you that I had misinformation. I was aware of the time. I thought the wind on that race was 4.1. Knowing that it's 2.6 changes it a lot, right? But I think the fact that the conversation has centered around that he beat Noah decisively, it makes sense to me. Like, it makes a lot of sense to me. And listen, we all understand that Noah's primary event is the 200, but we also all understand that Noah takes the 100 meters seriously and is attempting to take the 100 meters seriously. So for a child to put daylight between himself and the finish of the best 200-meter runner in the world right now, and someone who has proven that he can run well under sub 10 legitimately, I think in that moment, that was the story. Because if you take Noah out of that race and it's just the 986 with the 2.6, if that's what it was, that's still a phenomenal headline, and nerds like us understand what that means. But the population understands he beat Noah Lyles.
Well, see, but my thing is this: is that the people that are talking more about him beating Noah are not the nerds. I mean, they're the nerds. They're the track people. They're supposed to be the track, you know.
Okay.
Right. You know
I
what I'm
get
saying?
So you're saying the wrong
thing
people are focused on the wrong thing.
Exactly. Like, okay, as a coach, okay, beating Noah is big. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But 983.
Yep.
With a 2.6. Look, y'all know, look, Noah's my guy. Love the dude. But 986 at 18 years old with a 983 at 18 years old with a 2.6 win is otherworldly.
Oh, it absolutely.
And so that's all I'm saying is that while it is a great accomplishment, and I think it shows the kid's mental that he can step on the line and beat Noah, right? But 983. That's because he didn't run like 980 something in the semifinal with a bigger win.
So that must have been the one that I was thinking about, the semifinal.
Right.
And what Goon Squad did there with the nerd part of it, that's the thing.
Right.
Do the math. It comes out 9.8 no matter what.
Exactly.
No matter how you slice.
Like Goon Squad said, Noah ran 995 the week before, went legal.
Yes.
So now Noah was 992. That means that dude's he's 980 something, went legal in this race. So, all right. Well, that will wrap up our staff meeting, folks. Appreciate you guys sharing your thoughts and information, and I'm sure we will take this information forward and get better in a lot of ways. And we will now turn to our regularly scheduled programming and Big League Chew, let do what you do. So
now the door is opened and the shenanigans.
Cup of coffee in the morning.
Right. I was just gonna say, where's the coffee and the donut now? That's what's next. Sir Lucius has to leave the room first. So all right. So would you rather? And because he made noise last week and it is about his time, Sir Lucius is up in the chair.
Oh, Wow.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
jump the line a little bit there. So, are you ready, sir?
Absolutely.
All right. Would you rather be a stay-at-home dad or a 9-to-5 dad?
9 to 5.
Ooh.
Got it. Would you
9 to
rather
5
pole vault or bungee jump?
Can I just pay to be there for either one?
Oh my
That's why they
God.
were the decisions. That's why
Oh,
they
good.
were the
Oh,
decisions.
second.
Great.
This is going to surprise everybody. I'm bungee jumping. I'm bungee jumping. As long as
That doesn't
we're over a
surprise me.
body of water or something, I'm
Yeah.
good. Because I am not getting on that pole. Not. Because you see, Goon Squad, I sat with him and watched somebody snap one in half.
Mm-hmm.
See, that was like kind of thrilling for him. It was terrifying for me. No, I'm not doing that. He
Unwritten
got some
rule.
kind of rush from watching that
Yeah.
mess. No, I'm not doing that. No.
You get an adrenaline spike, but you are not allowed to flinch. As a pole vault coach, you cannot flinch.
It's so hard not to flinch. I'm not gonna lie. It's so hard not to flinch.
I flinched, so I'm not going to.
All right. Would you rather have the thermostat at 55 or 70?
7.
Would you rather have sand in your shoes or sand in your shorts?
Well, my shoes.
Okay. Would you rather go to a petting zoo or drive through the safari or drive through a safari?
I'm driving because I'm not petting anything. I'm not doing that. No, I'm look. Not only am I driving through the safari, it has to be enclosed car. I'm not driving through some Jeep that has nothing on it. I want to be protected. I want the air conditioning blared.
Oh
You
my
know.
God.
I might even put my Clyde, Cali mix on the radio. Be good. Yeah, little thistle dance or something. We're good.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. All right. Those are my questions. I figured I'd stay off the ledge before I got to the ledge. So, gentlemen, the floor is yours.
You scared of the ledge. I'm irritated.
I am. I'm trying to be off the ledge.
Clyde likes the ledge because see, when you go on the ledge, then he can just push me off of it. So he likes that ledge. he wants you to help him a little bit. That's all.
Let's see. Can I come up with a petty question?
Given enough time, we're sure you can.
Oh, okay. So not saying that this would be the case. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in generally speaking.
Okay.
We all have conference championships coming up in a few weeks, right? Would you rather lose to Arkansas or lose to Georgia?
No.
How about why would I want to lose?
No.
Hold
I'm not
on.
saying that either is going to happen. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying as a matter of principle, would you rather lose to Arkansas or would you rather lose to Georgia?
I'm clapping because that's the pettiest question he's ever asked.
As a matter
On
of
this show.
principle, I would not rather lose to either one of them. See, hold on a second. So just so we can put this out there in the ether, and I'll be a meme in somebody's staff meeting, and I don't care. I'm not trying to lose to anybody, right? I'm not. And so, if we're second, we lost. I don't care who the first person was. We didn't win. See, I'm not that. Because see, I get asked these questions all the time. There used to be this big thing about there's a Florida State track and field rivalry. No, there's not. we don't have rivals. No.
Does
Our
Florida
rival,
State have a rivalry with you and you don't reciprocate?
You said that, big league. I did. So at the end of the day, right? So it's not about whether I lose to either one of those absolutely incredible institutions, right? All I'm concerned with is that the Gators perform at the absolute highest of levels during the championship.
He's not playing along, Clyde. It's not going to happen.
Not going to do
it. Hey, it was a great question.
Yes.
It was a great question, but not working.
All right, fine. I'm gonna jump in the petty plane and fly along well.
Thanks, Clyde. Appreciate it.
if you had to be an assistant coach for one of the other four tiles, which
Oh,
which one of us would you be an assistant for, and what would you coach?
there you go.
Okay, first of all, I am going to be an assistant for Big League because I know we'll be organized, right?
Wow.
Okay. Because let's be
Wow.
realistic. Okay. If Clyde and I are on the same staff, the pettiness and the laughter is nonstop, right? If you and I are the same squad, goon squad, nothing's getting done. Like, it's not. Like, it's just not, right? And the governor and I will spend all day, chasing numbers. So yeah, I'm going on Big League staff. We're gonna get some stuff done. That's it.
Oh gosh.
What do you coach?
You and I will because whatever she tells me to coach, sir. I'm a
Oh,
great
there we
assistant
go.
coach.
Oh,
And, well,
is everybody
anything but the pole vault because I can't go to the pole.
I heard you're good at the distances, so we'll go ahead and push you over there.
I'll do it. Look, don't kid yourself now. I can get that.
No,
done.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I can get that.
I
done.
can't find a good distance.
As a matter of fact, I really think that at some point in time in my career, I want to take a step back and go, I'm gonna spend 2 or 3 years coaching the distances. I really want to do it. I do. I just happen to have a phenomenal distance coach right now, so not anytime soon. But maybe when I retire from Florida, I'll go work at some small school, and do that. I think that's my next challenge in coaching, is coach distances.
All right.
I'm sure there's somebody that would let you.
Did you like that one, Clyde? Is that a good one?
So I'm going to give you a choice of coaching attire. Okay. Would you rather be the Mac of coaching attire or the Web of coaching attire?
I don't get it.
Okay. Who's the Mac?
I
Who's the
Yes.
Mac of coaching attire?
Say that again.
Who's the Mac of coaching attire?
Goon Squad. You want to say it?
Nope, I refuse.
Is this Googleable? I'm Googling
And
this.
I know who the Web is, but who's the Mac?
Come on now.
Come on. If you think about this, you'll know this.
You'll know exactly where I'm going with this. Because it's literally the extreme opposites.
I'm not doing the Web.
So you're telling me you would rather go the Mac route?
No, I don't know who the Mac is, so I'm sorry. No, I'm not.
I don't get
All
it.
right.
You guys have to explain.
Think Olympic Training Center.
Have you never seen Mac Wilkins at a meet?
Oh, you got me.
Chris Mack.
You never? No.
Are we talking about Mac Wilkins or Chris Mack?
No,
Chris Mack. I was just messing.
Yes.
I don't. Chris Mack looks normal.
So Sir Lucius, we're talking about shorts,
Cargo shorts.
cargo
Oh.
shorts,
Oh, the
T-shirt.
flip flops.
Yes, open-toe shoe.
Hold on a second.
And-
I'm doing that before I'm doing the Web.
Okay,
Ooh,
all right.
Okay, look,
Okay.
there's no world. Look, Lonzo's a good dude. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, okay. Yes. I
But
see
there's
what you're
no
talking about.
way I'm walking around in 95 degree weather with a 3-piece on, dog. No.
Not doing
And
that.
not sweating.
And Gators.
And
Not
gators.
sweating.
Exactly. Yeah, no, he's clean from
Clean.
head to
Clean.
toe.
Look,
Every time.
As the old folks would say, he's cleaner than the Board of Health. That dude's clean.
and thing
Not
is,
doing it.
I appreciate both. It's never ever not entertaining.
They match their personalities.
Absolutely.
Governor,
I've seen Chris.
wait,
I never
can we throw
noticed
one
the
more in
flip-flop stuff.
right.
Can we
Please
throw
get
one
the
more in
right
there?
one. Please get the right one.
Can we put on the sweater vest and the Air Pat Henrys?
Yes. The vested.
You have to get rid of all your J's, and you have to get the Nike Zoom Monarchs
Nike
in
Walkers.
17 different colors,
Walking
and you
shoes.
have to have the equal 17 different sweater vests.
And your entire staff has to look exactly like you.
You better be careful because you're not going to get invited to any more meets. You better be careful. And okay, so you understand, like, you would get clowned so bad wearing monitors around my staff. Like, that's just not.
You
I don't
don't.
even think it's your staff, it's your pro group. That pro group would
Oh,
roast
man.
you like a
Yeah,
marshmallow.
roast me.
to
And the
death.
staff would give me too, but the pro group, I can hear Grant now. So that's what we're doing, huh? Okay. Yeah.
The call to cop.
I would pay so much money to see you in a sweater vest and some
Oh,
monarchs.
my God.
Oh
Okay,
my
so
God.
I think we're up for heartbeat props now, aren't we, Big League? 'Cause I think see what you did, Clyde.
I
Clyde
do.
just took it.
I'm very
off the
proud of it.
rails.
I'm very proud of it.
Exactly. See, so Big League's like, I don't have to
Oh.
put you to the ledge. You just pushed him right over.
Oh,
Mm-mm.
I went from picking somebody to lose, right, to being dressing like a beach guy or John
Sunday's
Shaft or
finest.
something. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, at least in the middle of I got to work for Big League Chew. So
That's right.
Yeah, I mean.
In your
that was a
three-piece
saving
suit.
grace.
In your 3-piece suit.
You know what?
Oh my God.
Goose Squad, I'm gonna get you, dog. I owe you for that one.
Wait, no, you know what?
Oh.
We'll make it fair. It's just a two-piece suit because the top piece is a sweater vest.
Oh gosh. Wow.
Okay.
Pants, shirt, tie,
Heartbeat
and sweater
props.
vest.
Heartbeat
Heartbeat
prop.
props. Heartbeat props.
Off the rails.
See,
Oh.
look. Anyhow, we're going to give shout outs, roses, flowers, lift ups to
Yeah,
those
so-
who are here.
I'm going to give my heartbeat props to all of the academic people who are getting bombarded with emails and text messages and phone calls and crying children at their doors because the children didn't do their work and now they're in a panic.
Yep.
So shout out to all of you guys and the fact that you're not getting a whole lot of sleep these days. And we could not do this without you.
Literally.
We could close it there.
Takes a sip.
And
Drinks some
there you
tea.
have it. There you have it.
Well, I'm gonna follow in that same vein. Heartbeat props to the athletes that either took care of business or did not
Yes.
take care of business, but still are trying to figure a way out of the next 2 weeks, going into conference and hopefully have a clear mind and are ready to compete at the highest level. Heartbeat props to them. I don't miss it one bit. So yeah.
Do you want to go?
Sure.
He's not going to stay in this pocket. So let me go to follow this.
Yeah, I'm definitely
He's gonna
not
go
staying
better.
in that pocket.
I will add to that, and I will give heartbeat props to all the coaches who have at one point in their career had to endure the anxiety of knowing that you have a person who is phenomenal, who is going to be there for your conference, going to be there for the region, may not necessarily be there for the end. It is a very anxious time in the world.
Oh, yes.
And if you have been down that path, my heartbeat props to you.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the more stressful, like ridiculous realities.
Mm-hmm.
And it always seems to go all the way to to getting on the bus.
Oh, absolutely.
11:59.
Absolutely.
You know,
11:59.
if you haven't been part of it, like when you have to take a kid off the bus or worse, send a kid home,
Yep.
it's not good. It's not good. Big League, you want to go or you want me to go?
No, go ahead.
Okay. My heartbeat props go out to two young men who are about to embark on the next phase of their professional baseball careers. One of them I'm related to, and one of them I represent. Both of them have toiled tirelessly this off season and are now prepared. They're in their new settings and prepared to go show the world how good they are. But resiliency is the lesson to be learned from both of these young men. One has had a litany of injuries and has had to deal with his own internal stresses. One has had to literally quit, work a job, realize he hated the job and loved baseball, and come back and humble himself, be humbled by the game. And at the end of the day, if you're blessed enough to work with young people who work really hard, you learn some things from them. And watching this new generation and its version of resiliency is it's heartwarming and different, because they have obstacles to their resiliency that we didn't have, right? Like if you had a tough mountain to climb, when I was younger, like, yeah, it's tough, but you made one decision. I'm going to get there. And these people have an entire social media prepared to clown, to naysay, to put them on blast. Just, it's a constant revisiting of that moment of resiliency. So my heartbeat props go out to Miles Symington and Zachary Christopher.
Cool. Heartbeat props go out to the recruits who are fortunate and blessed enough to have support staff, aka parents, cousins, sisters, brothers, familial or non-familial people who are in their corner to help them accomplish this last step in their phase of their quote unquote high school careers or transferring career or whatever, wherever they might be when they're getting into this next step. Because sometimes they don't realize how big it is until they don't have it again. So good on you all to make sure and to want to help support those young people and young adults to help them achieve their dreams. So thank you for being you. But thank you all for being who you are, because that's another episode of Athletics LLC Season 4. What in the what? So saying this out loud, because I don't know that this is common knowledge at this point, and nothing bad. For those of you who were picking this up on Gil's Connection, it is no longer being streamed. They're audio only. So you can only get the show now on YouTube. So if you choose to turn your screen off and listen to it that way, please feel free. But this is only on YouTube as of right now. There will be some growth happening, but for the current status, YouTubers, we are not. Show posters, we are. So with that said, for real, nice. I don't know how to do all that. But with that said, thank you everyone for your time, your effort, your support, and for you being you, and we will see each other soon. Bye everyone, have a good week.
When the lights come on, the road just get to running. When the lights come on, opponents smash the plumbing. Heard you like it warm, hot, knife the butter. Truth hit them hard, knock them off that rebuttal. Tsunami, tidal wave to your puddle. Tough love, punch you in the arms, little brothers. Athletics LLC, there's no others. Track and field's place and we'll peel to go further. Hey, Wile E. Coyote, it's road runners. Feels like you know us, you've been with us the whole summer. If not for this quarantine, these four corners wouldn't be here, but we here, so start learning. You gotta earn your stripes, gotta get your scars. Show you how to fight, but show us who you are. You lack experience, but still you wanna talk. And who is actually talking to you? Circle's kinda small. Heads prevail when the backbone's strong. Gotta keep it coming, no, it won't last long. Pass it, failed, and sell the sad song. And if you don't check yourself, then that's wrong. Just trying to give you the real that you asked for. So why you keep cutting us off to ask more? We put it in slow-mo, but you fast forward. Athletics LLC, the task force.